All right, everybody, welcome back to another FAQ video. I'm Christian Griffith, owner of Pride Roofing Construction. Today we're going to be talking about, we're still on that path of insurance claims, and we're going to talk a little bit about what will the insurance company actually cover. Being that this is all exterior, I want to talk a little bit about exterior peril claims. Tornado, wind, hail, hurricane, acts of God. What is the insurance company going to cover and why? Being that we're in Colorado and this is a very perpetual hail market, there's always hailstorms regardless of what year. It just might not hit you every year. Hail is what I'll start with first. Roofing has been the topic we've been covering for a while. We're a full exterior building solution contractor, so we look at the entire exterior of the house and check to see what hail damages outside the house. But if we're talking about just roofing, generally it ebbs and flows from insurance company to insurance company as far as their qualifications. But we talked last time about hail damage and its impact and what it does, the bruises that it causes to the fiberglass mat. But it has to be quantified. When an insurance company comes out, they're going to use chalk. Chalk runs off, so don't get worried that we're putting colors up on the roof. They're going to use chalk and they're going to map out a test square. It's a 100 square foot test area, 10 by 10 area. We call it a square. That's roofing terminology, but they're going to mark out one square and they're going to actually quantify how many of those bruises are within that 10 by 10 square. If you've ever done biology, I use this as a little bit of an anecdote when I'm talking to clients. If you look at a bacterial culture, they're not going to count every little microbe or every little thing on that bacterial culture. They're going to create grades within the bacterial culture, and they're going to count one square and then assume if this square is damaged this much or it has this much microbe, for taking a biology, the entire thing is going to have that same quantification. So they're going to look at one square on every directional slope of the roof. And they're going to see if it meets the qualifiers. I said in another video, 6 to 12 is the range for most insurance companies, some lower, some higher, but essentially they want to see impact fracture on at least 3 sides of the house before they warrant full replacement. There's some other algorithms that go into this, some other qualifiers, depends on terminology in your insurance, and things like that and how it was underwritten. But generally, if you have 3 sides that are affected and they meet that qualification of 6 to 12, your roof is going to be covered. Why do they cover this? Well, I said that before. Roof is a functional piece of the property. The roof is built to keep water outside of the inside, and they're ensuring not only the outside but the inside of your house. And they're going to do preventative measures to make sure that that roof is replaced and no water is coming inside. I'm going to talk about the roof again with a different type of peril, which is wind. Wind will uplift shingles, and it will additionally, depending on its magnitude, it will peel them back, it will snap them in half, it'll rip them off. All of which are a problem for you. Even if it just peels them back, the problem with that is now the adhesive is no longer bound. It's no longer a seamless system on the roof. And the wind that just did this damage and pulled them apart is going to push dirt and other things inside of that that adhesive, and it's no longer going to bite. So that area is then going to forever allow anything to go up and underneath of it. It could be water, it could be wind, like I said, wind-driven rain, it could be debris, it could be other things, but it's always going to blow, and eventually it's going to deteriorate enough that it's going to crack, and it will eventually turn into a problem. So when we see this wind uplift, these cracks or these missing pieces, we quantify that as well. Those can be repaired. Now, depending on the municipality where you live, that's going to play a factor as to whether the insurance is going to cover all of it or not cover all of it and just have you repair individual pieces. If you have 2 layers of roofing, that's a problem because in most municipalities you cannot get a permit if you have 2 layers of roofing. You can't repair that, you have to replace the whole thing. So your coverages are also going to play a factor in that. So we've talked about wind uplift, snaps and breaks, we've talked about hail. Obviously tornadoes and hurricanes do both of those same things. They penetrate the surface, they disrupt the adhesives, they crack and they break things. Let's move to the outside of the house. In a wind and hail claim, you're also going to see certain things where the insurance is going to pay to repaint a side of the house. Now you look at it and you're like, there's a couple of little chips here and there, but it didn't do that much damage. When I look at it, what I see is exposures in the external surface, and most siding products are compacted specifically to be able to weather the events outside. And when they have a chipped exposure, what's going to happen is water is going to run across those for days, weeks, months, years, and it's going to begin to swell. And when it swells, water then has the ability to, move itself behind the siding into the air and vapor barrier behind it and start to cause an integral problem inside. So as much as it doesn't seem like that big of a problem that you have chips in your painting, it is a functional problem. It's eventually going to cause the rest of the house to start to deteriorate at a much more exponential rate. Sorry, I'm saying a lot. You're gonna have to cut this part because I'm just trying to think. Essentially, the way that the insurance is written is if it wasn't there before the storm, they are required to bring it back to pre-storm condition. If there wasn't this dent in this gutter pan, or there wasn't a break in the glazing bead of your window, or a chip in the frame, they're required to bring it back to pre-storm condition. That moves it into the next qualification. Is this functional or is this cosmetic? We talked about there's lots of endorsements and riders and other things in other videos, but if you have a cosmetic endorsement, not only are the functional problems going to be covered, but your cosmetic problems will also be covered. So things that are an eyesore but aren't actually going to cause a problem inside the house, those are now going to be covered when you have that cosmetic endorsement. So I encourage you to meet with your insurance agent and find out if you do have this coverage, and if you think that that's necessary because you want to maintain a good aesthetic appeal to not only your neighborhood but maybe prospective buyers. That is something that I would encourage you to actually add to your policy and pay just that little bit more premium so that you can have everything covered through the claim. Okay, so let's get serious for a second. What is the insurance going to cover? I've seen some funky stuff. When maybe I'm the second person or the third person to the door or to this person's house. Like, it's a constant thought process that I need to get 3 quotes. Sometimes things are going to be promised to you that are never actually going to be delivered because it's not part of your policy. You need to stray away from people who don't understand how insurance works. If your siding is significantly deteriorated or it's aged out and it's already met its lifespan, even if it does have hail or wind or whatever damage, it's not going to be covered. Our team would never promise to you that we can get that covered because it was already a problem prior to the storm. I need you guys to understand that. If somebody's promising you the world, you might want to check a little bit with your agent or potentially with another very educated contractor to see if they agree that that's actually going to be the outcome. That's where I come into play. If you're questioning things with your contractor and you just don't know if all these promises are going to be delivered, before you start making a claim and putting yourself in a position where it's an open claim, you have to do everything that the insurance says that you need to do, call us. We'll qualify your damages. We'll tell you what will and won't be replaced. If you want those things also addressed, we'll give you a very fair, competitive quote to go with it and maybe upgrade certain areas of your property. The insurance is going to pay you like for the broken items and the things that they're responsible to pay for. We can also put a little bit of pristine effect on your house and build it up to better than the Joneses, right? Everybody on the street wants the better house. They're going to pay you like for like. If you want it to be a little bit better, we have the products, we have the relationships with our suppliers, we have everything that you need to be able to do exactly what you want and build this into the forever home that you want it to be. Again, this is Christian, Pride Roofing and Construction. These are only a couple of examples of things that the insurance company will pay for. There's plenty more that we can go into. So like I always said before, engage in the content, ask questions, even specific questions. You can put pictures in the comments, tell us, will my insurance company pay for this? I'll give you an honest response, and I'll also encourage you to have our team come out and assess the damages for you and see if this is worth your while to make a claim, or if it's something that you just need to keep in the back of your head, and we'll quote it for you, and we'll entertain that idea as your retail contractor as well. Thank you for tuning in. Catch you on the flip side.